Hey, what is up guys? So we are going to be taking a look at a few new cards that were announced. There's a new Synchro that I think a lot of Synchro players are going to be excited to run, whether you're playing a Synchro version of a deck or just you need a good level 6 Synchro, because Goyo Guardian ain't even meta now. But anyways, this was also just announced on the Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG info on their Twitter. It's like an OCG page anyways, but there's a new field spell card that's actually pretty hype, as well as there's a new announcement of a Metamorphosis card. It's just a level 5 and it kind of helps you if you're playing Metamorphosis Synchro. You have access to a level 5 monster now, which is kind of relevant for some of you players also. It's just nice to have more support coming out from the Metamorphosis archetype. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump right into the new cards, because there's a bunch to check out, and we'll check out that field spell as well, or that anti-field spell if you want to call it that. But nonetheless, there's a few cards that I think are pretty cool. There's new Perform Mage support, and more importantly, there is the Synchro, which we'll get into. But anyways, here's what the pictures look like for some of the cards. This is courtesy of organization page this is like their translations of it. So I'll link it down below in the description box if you guys want to check it out, but I'll tell you guys my thoughts on it. So anyways, there's a Intermate, aka the Perform Mage, is in the TCG is what we call them. But anyways, so it's just a small monster that has the pendulum effect that you can target one face monster your opponent controls, and a perform power monster you can control. Your opponent's monster loses attack equal to the attack of your target perform power monster, and then if your opponent special summons a monster and you don't control more monsters than your opponent, you can special summon from your hand. It's okay. Because it's only if your opponent if your opponent controls special summon monsters, so it's not going to really help you like OTK, so to speak, but it can help you kind of survive in certain aspects. But for the most part, it's like a small little attack noise. It's pretty much irrelevant, at least in my opinion, as of right now. So there's a new Blackwing, man, new Blackwing support for days. So it's Black Feather Tornado, the Reverse Wind Blackwing Tornado, the Reverse Wind. So anyways, so it's Black Feather, by the way, is the OCG name for the Blackwing, so this is the TCG name more than likely here. But anyways, if your opponent controls a special summon monster when this card is normal summon, you get to target one Blackwing tuner monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but that monster's effects are negated and you can't special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for Blackwing monsters. So it does technically have a downside, but I feel like, Blizzard already kind of had that aspect, and besides Blizzard can bring back things and you still Gale half. I don't really know if it's going to see some play, but nonetheless, it's more support confirmed for Blackwings. More importantly, this is the card that I think people are excited to talk about, which is the Coral Dragon. It's the new level 6 water. Hey, Mermails, what's good? Anyways, so it's level 6 water, and it's a dragon, so maybe someone will make good use of that. It's got 2400 attack, which is kind of mediocre, but it's got that 500 defense. Pretty good. Anyway, so it's one tuner and one or more non-tuner monsters, and that's so important because we'll get into talking about some of the other level 6s in the game right now. But anyway, so the second effect of it can only be used once per turn. So the first effect is that once per turn, you can discard a card and then target a card your opponent controls, destroy that target. Its second effect is if this Synchro Summon card is sent to the graveyard, draw a card. So definitely has a ton of utility. That's multiple ways where you can get that draw effect, plus you're going to be able to get rid of one card your opponent controls. I like how it doesn't have to be like a monster. Bryo technically bounces back, so that can be better in some aspects. Bryo outclasses this card, don't get me wrong. But I feel like this card can definitely have its uses, just because it can destroy a thing, so it doesn't like technically come back. But if you're playing against pendulums, like good luck. Unless you're OTKing them, I don't really know how I feel about this card. In some decks, obviously in Mermails you can OTK pretty easy, and if you're playing like a Synchro version of any Synchro Jet version of a deck, you're usually going to OTK anyways, because that's how that deck needs to play. Or you can make a field that's so impenetrable that your opponent can't do too much against it. But I do like that effect that it can destroy something, but the problem I have with this is it targets. Like, so many cards right now in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, you can't target me, can't be destroyed, and like, it's just, there's too much cards that just like outclass this card. It's still a great card. Again, don't get me wrong. I think it's probably one of the better level 6s that we have in the game. There's also a field spell. Well, like I said, I thought it was a field spell. It's semi-spell zone, but it's kind of an anti-field spell card. But anyways, I wanted to show you guys, if you guys didn't know, like the level 6s right now in the game, there's not that many great cards that are generic, meaning any deck can make it. Like for the most part, most players consider Goyo Guardian to be like one of the best level 6 Synchro monsters. Again, that's generic. I'm not like Natria Barkin, yeah, it has its uses, but it requires like an earth, or like some cards require a specific like zombie or something like that. That that card doesn't require anything special, and any deck can make it. Obviously, Bright was banned, otherwise this card would probably see like very little play. But I think the card is pretty good, and I think this is the card that I think a lot of players are excited about because, again, if you're playing a Synchro deck, you can actually make good use of that card and draw an extra card too. It just has a lot of utility, but let me know your thoughts on that card. But lastly, we got to check out the Semi-Spell Zone. So it's a field spell card, or anti-field spell card, again, like I said. But anyway, so you activate this card only at the start of your main phase 1 or main phase 2. During each player main phase, monsters on the field can't be targeted or destroyed by their controller's opponent's card effects. You cannot activate or set field spell cards. And I think I can't set them. But nonetheless, I think that's a really cool field spell that's an anti-field spell. And I'm trying to think of like what ways that this can be really good in, because this is the way I see it. You throw that card down, your opponent can't target or be destroyed by, like, well, they can't be destroyed or targeted by their controller's opponent. So basically, I throw this card down. Pretty much, I get to go to my battle phase, and I'm pretty set. Like, before I go to my battle phase, I mean, no one's really playing Mirror Force right now, right? But it's just during the main phase, like, you're safe on everything. You don't have to worry about, like, any cards. Like, that makes so many decks more viable now. Like, for example, if you play Plant Synchro, if you get, like, wrecked once, like a Torrential comes out, you basically lose. Or someone, like, Books a Moon, like, the right card. Like, you go Glow Up Bulb, and they're like, Book a Moon. That's it. But if you throw this down, and you're like, oh, special, 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 you can't do anything, ain't nobody playing Mirror Force. Like, let's be realistic in the competitive scene right now. Maybe this will change people's mind, but I think this is a pretty good game changer. It's called Hamadu Taki Semi-Spell Zone, apparently what it's called in TCG. I don't know. Whatever it is, I think it's a pretty good card, especially when you combo it with, like, Chicken Race Pseudospace. You get your draw on, you terraforming, and then you throw this card down, and then you have hopefully your draw power or your combos ready to go, and then you're super safe on them. So I think that this could increase maybe some decks, for example, like Mermails can make good use of this card, because Mermails are relatively easy to OTK with, but again, if something gets Book a Moon, something gets wrecked, and that's targeted, that means no effect Veiler on Atlantean Nepta Abyss. So I think that definitely helps out. I really feel like this card, it's so good. Like, I'm trying to think of all of the decks that can make good use of the Semi-Spell Zone. But like off the top of my head, I'm thinking anything that can OTK or can go for some crazy combos. Like, I mean, this card could be pretty OP with, like, like the FTKs. Like, if you have Library out and, like, Library gets negated, sometimes you lose. But this makes it safer. And again, with Chicken Race, Pseudospace, all those things to get that extra draw power. And like I said, with Terraforming, you can get the this card out and pretty safe on most things. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts on the Coral Dragon. I think the most of the cards are kind of like, they're not really too relevant, but it is support technically, so I guess I will cover the support anyways. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the Coral Dragon as well as the Semi-Spell Zone, because I think that card, like I said, it just opens the door for a lot of different decks. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Show you guys the support by giving that like button a titty slap. And it's been your boy Will Smith, signing out.